Hello, wonderful people. Welcome back to this wonderful channel where we bring you all the information where they happen all over the world. Now it is Wole Soyinka and P2B again, and they are now clashing with each other. Of course, you know that Wole Soyinka is an erudite professor that is well respected in Nigeria, and P2B also, should I say, a good politician that is well respected in Nigeria. Of course, you know that during the last concluded presidential 2023 election, P2B within the space of 8 months to 9 months was able to, gather a lot of crowd because of his power of oratory, and people believe that he is the right person to be the president of Nigeria and also to take Nigeria to another level. Before I bring you the full details of what is going on between P2B and Soyinka today, please, if this is your first time of joining us on this wonderful channel, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like, share, and on your notification button so that whenever we are posting, you will be the first to see our news. Let's go down to the news proper. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka says he did not discuss reconciliation with the presidential candidate of Labour Party (P2B) during their meeting. Obi had released picture he took during his visit to Soyinka, giving the impression that the visit was to get a soft landing for his followers who insulted the library giant last month. Referred to as obedient, the politician's supporters has used all manner of words on the global renowned author over an interview he granted on the election. In the interview, Soyinka said he had warned Obi that if he lost the presidential election, it would be due to his supporters. Amid the barrage of criticism and caustic remarks, Soyinka had fired back at Obedience and challenged Dati Baba Ahmed, Obi's running mate, to which a spokesman of the Labour Party presidential campaign responded by dismissing Soyinka as an old man. But on Sunday, Obi said he made attempt to reconcile the professor with his followers, whom he referred to as obedient family. Today, Sunday, I visited one of Nigeria's most revered figure and an international literary icon, Prof. Wole Soyinka. Prof. Soyinka has been my father, whom I hold in very esteem for what he has achieved and stand in the struggle for a better Nigeria. His reputation as a fighter for justice and equity in our society has been legendary, and we will never ignore them. I remind the Nobel laureate of the huge price he paid just before the outbreak of civil war, fighting for the cause of the Igbos. I cherish this Sunday visit, which was intended to erase the needless misconception about the relationship between the great icon and obedient family, he had said. However, in a statement on Monday, Soyinka said reconciliation was never discussed during his meeting with Obi. He said, before it gains traction and embarks on a life of its own, I wish to state clearly that the word reconciliation inserted into some reports of P2B's visit to my yesterday Sunday, May 7th, is most inappropriate and is a visionary invocation. Let me clarify, I know the entity known as P2B, presidential candidate of Labour Party. I can relate to him. I know and can relate to the Labour Party on whose platform he contested election. There are simply no issues to reconcile between those two entities and myself. However, I do not know and am unable to relate to something known as the obedient or obedient family. Thus, albeit in a different vein, any notion of reconciliation or even relations, positive, negative, or indifferent with such as spectral emanation is simply grasping an empty air. During that meeting, attended by two other individuals, only the word reconciliation was never breathed, never in itself nor in any other form. It simply did not arise. My contrast there were expressions of burdens of leadership, responsibility, apology, pleading, former disassociation from the unattainable, all the way to the tragic ascendancy of ethnic cleavage, especially under such ironic, unattainable circumstances. Discussions were frank and creative. The notion of reconciliation was clearly N/A, non-applicable. It was never raised. The following should be understood but never underestimated. What remains ineradicable from that weekend of orgiastic rave in the social media was the opening up of the dark, putrid recesses in the national psyche that we like to pretend do not exist. It invited into minds seeking a grasp on reality gruesome variations on images from Dante's Purgatorio. A fathomless pit was exposed, at the bottom of which one glimpsed a throng of the damned, writing in competitive lust for the largest of the generous landless in diabolical broths. The peak over the edge of that pit for a prolonged spell was to turn giddy, with a risk of falling into the tureen of inhuman pools. To attempt to navigate one's way, however, gingerly along a mat spread across the infernal abyss is an invitation to moral suicide. For the serious minded, I call attention to essays I have offered on the theme of reconciliation based on truth and ethical imperative or restitution. There will be further elaboration forthcoming in Democracy Prime 3, Bookcraft Intention series, now brought forward for publication on June 12. The watershed extorted from the current regime as the nation's democracy did. If from here on I now comply with entreaties from several valued, genuine concerned directions and ignore new provocations, however vile, it is only because I also approved of Muhammad Ali's strategy of rope a dope, where blind menace is left failing hopelessly at the disdainful manifest of truth. My people, when I don't see as the matter they go. If you're a lover of English and also a lover of a poem and also a lover of write-ups, you will understand what Soyinka is trying to say. Though he spoke in parables, words that one who has a common mind might not be able to catch up with. But he was actually trying to say that there was never any discussion on reconciliation between the Obidates and him, Wole Soyinka. He said that he knows Peter Obi as a person and also the Labour Party on whose platform Peter Obi contested for the president of Nigeria on the 2023 concluded election of which he lost. But that of Obidat family or anything called obedient, he Wole Soyinka knows nothing about, and he cannot have anything to do with that. And he's also narrating that if there should be a reconciliation, that the reconciliation should not be indirect, like when you do something to somebody and you come to the person, instead of saying I am sorry, you start beating around the bush. You start beating around the bush, moving this side, moving the other way, moving the other side and the other side. Well, Wole Soyinka in his wisdom had written in that manner, and if you can relate, you yourself go relate. Kwa. But what I'm saying is, Nigerian politicians sometimes I do not understand that. I'm not saying that somebody should go and become enemy with somebody. Of course, you know that Wole Soyinka and the Chimamanda had a little issue where Chimamanda was trying to, be very straightforward. I think I love Chimamanda for his straightforwardness because he does not. That lady does not like beating around the bush, just like politicians. Of course, you know that Peter Obi is a politician, and